Welcome back, everybody. Today's going to be a fun one. If you are not around for this time period, I will tell you this is one of the more interesting releases, especially when you think what happened with Data Live, because this is the beginning of the Aniplex No Signature SPs. If you need a reminder, here's some of the shows from Aniplex. And as I go through this list, you can see some of them, of course, came to English with no signatures. Now, going back here, the booster box was pretty interesting. Came out on April 23rd, 2021. So did the trial deck. Inside of the booster box, the SPs were no signature. On the left is the Japanese version. In the middle is going to be your no signature version. And on the right, if you cannot tell, this is your no signature serial number card. It's pretty hard to see, right? That was one of the biggest complaints I had, but depending on the background or whatever art is showing on here, you can see it better. So here is an actual picture of what it looked like on this Felicia. You can see that right there. 008. You don't know the significance of this card. I will show you very soon about why this is very important. Trial deck, there were no serial numbers on there. I don't know why they do that, but you could see this is the beginning of where we started getting those trial decks with just stamps in it, which were really, really bad when you think about, I don't know, maybe like Licorice Recoil, potentially Spy Family if you didn't want some of the cards in there to play with. This wasn't good without the signatures in there. It wasn't special. Now here is your SPs. This is going to be one of those ones where it makes sense why there's some not available, why there's some that's our high cost, and why the majority of them have not actually sold whatsoever. Now you take a look, Sana and Kaede actually had some sales recently. I do like these cards. I wish there were signatures on here. I say that about all these stamp cards that we get in the trial deck or booster box that just are just stamps. It's just not very fun. Now going back here, why this talk is very interesting. If you have not heard it, I made videos on this back in the day, but you can see what happened here. This is on Facebook. I pulled this from one of my videos. If you're wondering why this is in paint, I just ripped it out of my video itself. This was on Facebook. Someone was selling this card. They sold two comrades, Miyazuki Villa. It says Villa. Felicia. One is serial number 008, which is pretty neat to see. She pulled two cards, got the exact same card. At first, I remember in the comments, she said she didn't even realize one was a serial number. And then I was looking at TCG Player, and lo and behold, what this actually is. So if you take a look here, this is Felicia, and she is a serial number 008. What does this tell you? This is either a really cool counterfeit that happened or potentially a duplicate, which in the end, it was actually a duplicate. You can see down here is the serial number. Again, it was in the video. I just didn't bother pulling up the actual post if it's still even there or looking for the original photo. I know it's kind of blurry, but take my word for it. This actually happened. There were two 008 Felicias that happened. The other interesting part is the fact that, there's not 100 of these things, so why they use 008 kind of perplexed a bunch of us. This is just one of those experiments gone wrong, and it always called into question, were there other duplicates out there in the set? Can you imagine having a serial number and you actually have duplicate versions out there in the real world? Interesting. I always wish that this card ended up, both of these cards, anyways, ended up in the hands of one person. That way, they could show off both of the exact same serial numbers. So we never got the answers on what really happened there, if someone actually got both, if they tried returning it, contacting Bushiroad. No idea what happened from there. I will also say, when these serial numbers were out there, not many people are really interested in it because you have to think about the IP itself. Was this something people wanted to collect? Again, I'm one of those people that actually like Magia Record. This is one of the animes I enjoyed. I would say the last season probably not so much. It was kind of confusing actually, but in the end I still really liked it. But the fact that there were no signatures on it, didn't like it. It was only until later when we started seeing, let's say, SAO, where there was more interest in serial numbers. And because of that, the people went back to this set and was like, oh, serial numbers, let me get it because they're going to be worth a lot of money. And I will say, just taking a look at this, do you believe that is actually true still? As I show you all the pictures. And I show you, how about this? The sealed price is $73 on a booster box. one trial deck at $12.99, and the rest are just the normal prices. There's basically no supply out there. If you take a look at the displays, if you look at the cases right there, nothing actually exists. But at the end of the day, would you take your money and invest in this set, knowing that there's serial numbers and more than likely that there's not a whole lot of interest in this IP itself? And more than likely, there's probably another duplicate out there in the world. And more than likely, that not all the serial numbers have been pulled. Would you actually go out and do that? Or would you invest in some other set? That's my question to you today. Now, taking a look at more recent sales, as you could see here, anything with green numbers means it actually sold recently. Not so much, but you can see right here this triple rare Felicia. This is going to be your choice. Reason for becoming a magic girl has been bought, and this one over here, the gold bar. Moving over here to your SRs, I'm showing you just because just the layout of the land as you see it. It's been freaking 3 years, and this is where we are. Some of these are really expensive. Taking a look at this Iroha. SR, $25. This is another one down here. $27.99 for Mommy. Yeah, that's a cool looking card, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Mommy's a lot of fun. But $27.99. I think there's some cards definitely going to be worth that much. They look very pretty. People like the characters. Maybe someone wants to play with it. It just shows you how much, I guess, people already picked up of the card. I know there's some people still purchasing some cards, but it's not going to be a ton. Is the risk reward out there for you that you're going to open the box or just purchase it for investing purposes? Now, take a look here. Isn't this going to be a thing of beauty? Thinking about playing, right? I noticed this with my last Magia Record mobile set. After I did that video, some people are actually buying some cards. It's kind of like a reminder, hey, this set's out there. Maybe you should purchase some of it. And you can see here, look at this Tsuruno, man. 1749, one left, and there's only so many of these, so people are still looking to play it. June 28th, we have 4 cards purchased. Someone got a whole play set of them. You also have this Felicia at 997 currently. And what do we got here? We got some threes. We got 4 cards again. Coincidence says on June 28th, 2024. So we all know what's going on here. There's someone going in there getting some of these cards, but it's really expensive at this point. When you take a look at the rares, nothing really stands out here. Again, there's people buying it. I'm just gonna say right now that it's just, price wise for a 3-year-old set, 25.38. This one's sold out. Can you imagine a mommy over there? So if you wanted that mommy to play with, you're stuck with that super rare that's over there. Over here we got the uncommons, nothing really special. This one right here was a lot of fun for me. This common card, if you take a look, I already had it opened up, so I'll just go to this tab right here. You can put as any number of cards with the same card name as this card into your deck. This card cannot side attack. You cannot, if you have another black feather in your backstage, this card gets the following ability. This card gets 1000 power for each of your other magic characters, which is really nice. So you can see that it's common card 2000. And what do we have here? 10 bought on August 30. Light played 40 cents. Interesting, right? Interesting. Anyways, moving on. The climax. What did I have in here? Climax common, climax rares. Nothing of real interest. PR cards, same idea. Unless you want this Yachiyo. I mean, she's at 192 plus 127. I mean, that's pretty up there for the PR and the trial decks. Really nothing else to it. Now, lastly, one thing that I was doing out here was just checking out eBay for myself. When you pop in, what did I have here? I had Weiss Schwarz Magia Record Anime SP English. Not a whole lot came back. Over here is your mobile set. We have some of these cards, but if you look at them, they have signatures on it, which means it's the Japanese version. You do have a playmat. You do have a little poster over there, but really not too much when it comes to the English side. If you actually look for other sealed products out there in the world, not a lot are shown out there. So it makes you wonder where all the product is. And this is the time period during the boom where it was actually really hard to get the product. It wasn't like baked in yet, right? We just had Data Live not having enough. We then had this set come out, which I don't believe there was a ton of people that actually wanted it. Flash, there was a bunch of it available. So I've always wondered in my mind when it came to the serial numbers, did all of them actually get released, or was Bushiroad still holding some of these? Right? That they printed the product, but not a lot of it was actually ordered. So it's somewhere in a warehouse somewhere, ready to just I don't know, be burnt, just sit around. I don't know what they do with product, but we always knew it as printed demand. So it's got to be somewhere out there in the world, right? And I don't remember seeing a lot of it. I remember serial numbers. If I had to think back, if you were questioning on how much they really were, I feel like people were looking to buy them when after the SAO thing happened for like $1,500 maybe. But even then, I think you'd have to be a real fan to actually purchase this, or just have a lot of money to throw away investing in random serial numbers, right? If you wanted to do that, yeah, might as well go over to Rebirth for you and pick some up of the better looking ones from the trial deck. I think that's the better way to go than just picking up random Weiss Schwarz Magia Record anime serial numbers with no signatures on it. That's not very fun, right? Like you see this Felicia right here. I love Felicia. I said it in the last video. I bring this up, but take a look at this one. This was the from the mobile set. I want to bet. There we go. I mean that card, man, in Japanese or in English. English had the signatures. Just imagine this with English text on it. That's an awesome looking card right there with the signature on there. Way better than picking up some, I think, serial number, but that's just where my bias lies. I don't really care much about a serial number, and when I stare at this, it just feels soulless. And it's not something that I would recommend people getting unless you really, really love it. So when I see that's my problem with serial numbers. When I see card art like this or the way it just looks and triple numbers making no sense, duplicates, this text box right here, it's just not very fun, and I can't imagine paying $1,000 with it. I rather just go on a trip somewhere and enjoy my time than stare at this serial number card. Especially, can you imagine buying this for $1,099.99 and then finding out there was another version of it out there in the world? That'd be crazy. I'd be so upset. But alas, that's where we are on Magia Record anime. So let me know your thoughts on that one. It's one of the sets that I enjoyed personally. It didn't really do well in the market out there, but not all of them are going to be winners, as we're going to find out soon enough. But as always, have fun, be happy, and don't spend anything outside your budget. Have a good one.